Washington earned a commitment from one of the transfer portal's top receivers.
You are Locked On Huskies, your daily podcast on the Washington Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into another edition of the Locked On Huskies podcast. I'm Tomashoff. That's Lars Hanson. We read for Inside the Huskies of Fan Nation and Sports Illustrated. Thank you for being with us here on this Saturday afternoon, evening. I'm Lars here on West Coast time. I'm on Central time here, whatever time of day it is for all the everydayers out there. But we are here to talk about a lot of fun stuff, and we are going to start with Washington's latest transfer portal commitment, and that's wide receiver Jeremiah Hunter. Lars, we've been talking about this guy. We talked about a little bit on air. We talked about him a lot off air and how much we're both big fans of his game, and this is just a massive addition for the Huskies.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember back at the Cal game, I know both of us ended up retweeting the tweet that it was mentioned in, but it was different tweets because everybody used the video, right, where the agenda did take a hit on the play. But man, now that he's going to be a Husky, it's like, hey, that doesn't matter. That was a dog play, though. I mean, like it truly it reminded me a lot of what Rome Odunze is, right? And now again, I'm not saying Jeremiah Hunter is an immediate, 1A, 1B to Rome Odunze because there's a gap in their game, right? There's a reason Jeremiah Hunter is not going off to the NFL and instead trying to do one more season in college before he can go to the NFL. But I do think that is the type of caliber of player you're getting with Jeremiah Hunter, a 1 year impact guy that you can. And man, just imagine all the alley-oop balls from Will Rogers to Jeremiah Hunter.
Oh, it's perfect.
I mean, and with Ryan Grubb wearing that camo UW hat, like they're going to be hunting next season. These dogs. So I can already tell you the motto is going to be dogs are hunting next season.
No, I like that a lot. So I'm really glad you talked about, especially about Rome Odunze and Jeremiah not going to the NFL. Because he is that talented and he does have a future in the NFL ahead of him. But it looks like one of the biggest things he needs is more tape and an offense that actually throws the ball. Of course, coming from Cal, that's just the biggest thing. Where he's done a really great job finding ways to be an impact player on that roster, but with Jaden Ott and just Jaden Ott being fantastic, poor quarterback play, and just a whole bunch of other things that goes on down there. He's going to be a fantastic addition to this team and is, after Aaron Butler decided to go to Texas, he's exactly what Washington is looking for in 2024. A reliable receiver. While, he's going to be a 1 year guy. This is what it's about, where now you can bridge the gap to Justice Williams, Jason Robinson, maybe bring in another receiver next year in the transfer portal while bringing those guys along. And then, because one question that we have here, or one comment here from Daniel Dill says, hope Washington can target guys with more than 1 year of eligibility for sustainable success. Where Jeremiah Hunter is that I don't want to say pipeline, more that bridge where he's going to help you get to the Rashid Williams of the world, the Keith Reynolds of the world, and the guys in the 2024 class that we just mentioned, where is going to help them develop better and still have that sustainable success while filling holes for the short term.
Well, exactly. And to your point, to answer the question as well, it's the room is built on those players. Is the develop, we're bringing them in as true freshmen out of high school and we're bringing them along. You're just supplementing the class. So I don't think that, they're doing the same thing at running back, right? 1 year transfer, Wayne Taulapapa, potentially 1 year transfer, Dylan Johnson, but you're also getting multi-year transfer, Will Nixon, Daniel Ngata, similar to Jeremy Bernard, right? Jeremy Bernard's not saying, hey, I only got an X number of targets this year in this pass-heavy offense, I'm going to transfer. It's like, no. People are coming to this offense to be coached by Jamarcus Shepard, to get their talent maximized by Ryan Grubb, and then to win for Kalen DeBoer. That's kind of the trio of how this offense works, especially from an offensive weapon perspective. So I don't think it's necessarily an issue that they're getting 1 year guys. It would be an issue if they honestly weren't, because then now you're forcing a Keith Reynolds to be a number 2 guy. Giles Jackson is your one, which we both love Giles Jackson, but why not have both Jeremiah Hunter and Giles on the same play, right? Because they do two different things, and especially at Jeremiah's size, being bigger, that allows Giles to do more things and just have Rome be the Rome Odunze, if you will. Somebody else can have that specific role, and Giles can be a weapon in like a Swiss Army knife.
Right. And when you say Rome Odunze, I'm sure, since we're talking about 2024, you're talking about like the combination of like Jeremy Bernard, Denzel Boston, those kinds of guys. Yeah.
Yes. And it's the playing
filling the Rome Odunze role.
Yes, exactly. Yes, Rome. Yeah. I mean, if Rome wants to shock the entire world, like,
Hey.
I mean, like, I guess that technically is in play, but I'm again, it's more of a formality. But I will say that's a credit to both Braylon, Rome, all the guys that we know are probably going. None of them are doing it before the bowl game, but still saying, "Hey, are we playing in the bowl game?" But by the way, gone. Like, no, we all know you're gone. Just focus on the team. Let the team get the accomplishment, and then say, "Hey, you know what? I got a week afterwards. Coaches already knew. Now we're going to make our formal announcements." Which that's again that talks about the culture of Kalen DeBoer.
No, you're 100%. That was a big message from Media Day, which we're going to get to. But first, gotta give a shout out to our friends over at GameTime, because if you're going to be down here in New Orleans and you don't have tickets yet, you shouldn't be stressed out while you're doing that. And GameTime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Some of the coolest things about GameTime: the last minute tickets, the flash deals, the zone deals, all kinds of deals on the app. They've got the lowest price guarantee on there, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, all sorts of protections to make sure that you're getting a good deal. And GameTime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total upfront, so you know you're getting a great deal without hidden fees. And you can buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. So, Lars, there's been a lot to talk about with Media Day. Yesterday, we only got a couple players to talk to, and we also got to talk to co-defensive coordinators Chuck Morrell and William Inge. And there was a united message among them. And everything kept coming back to talking about the culture Kalen DeBoer has built and talking about what it is that Kalen has just built here. I had a fantastic conversation today with strength coach Ron McKeefrey, and he told me a lot about his journey and how he came to work for Kalen. And one thing that really stuck out to me, and just his praise for him, was he told me Kalen's the kind of guy who will do something 9 times before asking you to do it once. And I feel like that's just a great example of who he is as a person and why all these guys are still here and why they all chose to come back and play for him.
Yeah, and what that really kind of symbolizes is Kalen, the only time he's going to ask you to do something is if he's got 10 other things to do and his attention needs to be, and that's the exact, but the thing is, as a head coach, you need to be able to do everything, but also you shouldn't be able to do everything, because as the head coach, you're the CEO, right? The CEO doesn't print the papers, right? The CEO runs the company that funds the opportunity to make the papers become available to the public. So that comparison is actually a really good one by McKeefrey, because it's like, hey, DeBoer knows everything. He knows how to run the offense. Like if Ryan Grubb leaves, he knows how to run an offense. It's not, oh, hey, I'm a nice guy, but I know how to hire really good people, right? You know, there's a difference between, okay, once Ryan, let's again, in whatever world, 20, 25, 26, 27, whenever Ryan Grubb gets a premium head coaching job, and Kalen now has to figure out who his replacement is, it's not, oh, wow, now the offense is going to potentially take a hit. It's who is the next person that Kalen DeBoer, has in line, because it's a matter of, hey, Kalen's got the right approach. He's got the right culture. He's got the right mindset. He just needs the right people in those positions to execute them. And again, those opportunities are rare because they're valued. And that's, I think, right. And from what I heard Brian Grubb kind of said, where it's like, hey, I could have gone to Alabama. I could have done X, Y, and Z. Why do that when I can just be here for as long as I want to be and then get the perfect head coaching job at the right time whenever it comes about? Like, that speaks to how high Kalen DeBoer is as a culture, because everybody wants to move up in the coaching world, much like in the business world, writing world, journalism, anything. Everybody wants to move up to have their own thing, to be their own person. But to stay around somebody to learn in that process is not easy. And so the fact that Kalen makes it so easy for those guys is, again, more of a testament to his culture than anything else.
No, you're absolutely right. And just another fantastic example of that was during Media Day. There were so many players that were just walking around because everybody's there, everybody's available to talk to. And one of the great things was I was standing there talking with, I believe it was Nick Caleppo. I'm talking to Nate Caleppo, and all of a sudden Lance Holtzclaw has a giant camera and is just like taking pictures, walking around doing that the whole time. Keith Reynolds is doing that. We saw UW football put out on social media that Drew Fowler and Cameron Fabiculon and we're going around interviewing guys doing all that. And this is going to sound biased, but this is also the Locked On Huskies podcast. I felt a very different sort of energy when I watched these UW football players interact with each other and interact with the media compared to some of the Texas guys doing. I don't know. It felt very different. And we're going to talk a lot more about that, but we got to get another ad real quick. And we're going to give a nice shout out to our friends. Oh, I'm getting a nice little glitch here. To our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook, because as the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot. On FanDuel right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. You've been thinking about joining FanDuel. There's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. And as we continue to do so, make sure you tune into our Monday show where we're going to be breaking down everything and giving our keys to the game for the Sugar Bowl. And we're going to have some pretty fun parlays for you just as part of our bold prediction, because, hey, it's fun. And that's what we can do. Lars, I'm sorry to cut you off. Please continue.
No, you're good. We were talking about media culture. Day and kind of just the culture. Well, no, but to your point about the vibe just kind of being different, that is really kind of a symbolization of the difference in the two programs. Where one's coming in 12-0 or 13-0, one's coming in 12-1, but one of those two is favored, and it doesn't really make a lot. And then, I mean, you saw my quote tweet from Shannon Terry, the founder and CEO of On3. It's like, Texas by 20. It's not going to be close. It's like, this ain't Florida State, Georgia. This ain't going to be a boat race, and a beatdown. Like, and even if it does, and I know, again, it's going to sound biased, right? But it almost seems like Washington would be the team that delivers the beatdown. I mean, Oklahoma beat Texas. Arizona beat Oklahoma. It's like Washington's toughest matchup early in the season was Arizona. Everyone's like, oh, that's an ugly loss. Like, actually, no. John Stamos was building something at the time down in Tucson. Now, Jed Fish. And now, I remember the reference from Media Day when I got to interview Jed Fish, and I said,
I appreciate it. No, it's
he enjoyed that. And I think it's similar to Jed Fish, right? Kalen DeBoer and Jed Fish are kind of similar, where it's not that Sark is different and like not genuine. There's just kind of something about, when you're 12-1, how are you somehow the favorite against an undefeated team? Oregon was the favorite against Washington by 9.5, and Washington proved Vegas wrong. Again, I can understand why people, if you're a Texas fan, hearing someone talk from Washington saying, "Oh yeah, there's no way Texas wins this game." It's like, well, again, I know it sounds biased, right? Because we cover the team, but I can look at Texas and yes, without question, Teron Sweat, that front seven, great, no doubt. But the problem is Washington's probably going to be the best offensive line they've faced all season,
right?
Plus or minus what you say about Alabama back in September. So that's a much different team now than it was then, but also Washington has taken 2 punches from Oregon, a couple of punches from Wazoo and Oregon State and Stanford, and survived every single one of them. So I don't see why Texas would be any different.
So no, you're absolutely right. So because we got 2 questions we want to make sure we get to here, we'll go kind of rapid fire with them. But one thing that I want to mention is all the Texas fans seem to be using everything Washington has said as like bulletin board material, even though Texas is the one who's like really been kind of fueling the trash talk with things like Devondre Sweat has said, calling Washington just another offensive line, all those sorts of things. One of the people that I talked to about that with a little bit was Julius Bueller, where I said, people seem to be questioning your physicality, all sorts of things like that. And Julius just said, we'll talk about it on the field on Monday. Like, we'll see on Monday. And I felt like that was just such a perfect answer, because this team has just proved people wrong all on the field all season long. And I have, no doubt in my mind that they will go up to play, especially up front on Monday. So we want to get to 2 questions real quickly here. Ben Day, first one, asks, any other transfer portal targets for the Huskies? One whose name is escaping me off the top of my head is the running back from Toledo who entered the portal. He looks like he's a really talented player. I like him a lot. And then somebody else who very recently reported an offer from Washington that, Lars, I don't know if you saw this, but somebody that I'm really intrigued to see is, I got to make sure I pull up his name here. And I get it correct, but the transfer from UTSA, the defensive back who recently entered the portal, I like his film a lot. I think he's going to be a really good player.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's no question that Washington still needs some pieces to add from the portal. So I think, and again, just kind of going off what you're saying, probably thinking about linebacker depth-wise, probably thinking at least another safety or cornerback for depth purposes. Again, this also hinges on, to a degree, does Jabbar Muhammad come back, right? I'm sure, again, whether you, anybody, Varel, and no matter who asked him that question, if they even asked him this week, he's not going to say yes or no, right? They're too focused. Once the team loses, if they lose, right? Again, if you beat Texas,
Cam Alexander is his name. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I got that out. Cam Alexander.
Okay, because there's another Alexander, I believe the linebacker from Idaho as well. Washington offered recently as well. So I think they clearly know they want to go for some depth pieces and then maybe see what they have. Because again, as we talked about with receiver, you want to be able to bring those guys in the room along. You have JB Green, you have 3 incoming safeties, so you're going to want to get those guys playing time. Tristan Dunn at safety as well, but there's still kind of some moving pieces. And actually that's a good thing if you're Washington, because it gives you options, right? The guys that you have on the team, you'd be more than happy to have back. But also, at the same point, you do want to see the development. Hey, we got Jabbar for 1 year, turned him into a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Just work with me. 4th round pick, whatever. But he should get drafted, right? I know the size would be a knock on him, but I think he's too talented to not find a roster opportunity somewhere in the NFL.
No, absolutely. And something I wrote about over on Inside the Huskies, especially with his family lineage of having so many talented defensive backs in his family. And then Lars, I'll field this one really quickly because I know we're going to have the exact same answer on it. Any idea on Jalen McMillan or Jalen Polk leaving? It sounds like as of right now, both of them are leaning towards leaving, especially with this addition of Jeremiah Hunter, where that seems to be the move, where both of them would definitely want to go to the NFL. Wouldn't blame either of them for doing that. I'm sure both of them would have high-level opportunities no matter where they get drafted. They'll find a way to be major contributors on their team from day one. On these abbreviated live shows, we always got to cut it a little short. Thank you to all the everydayers for tuning in. Lars, as always, thank you so much for being here. And if you want to make sure you stay up to date with everything it is that we're doing, we've got so much content that we're going to keep bringing you guys even after bowl season is done. So make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. We're there. We're everywhere. We're updating this channel every single day with new content. We always try to get something new and fresh up there for you, for all the everydayers out there to enjoy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like the podcast. Leave it a 5-star review if you're audio only. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you on Monday.